Hey, Nicole, it's Sean.
Hey,
Are you at work?
what?
Are you at work?
No, I'm not.
That's good.
Nope, I'm just at home with my daughter.
I've been trying to get help for over a year. It's
You know what?
complicated. I've been trying to get help for over a year. All these people who told me they're Christians and want to talk to me about Jesus keep showing me they don't believe in Jesus. You remember when your sister disappeared?
You're breaking up. I remember when my sister what?
Do you remember when your sister disappeared?
Yes, I do.
I try to help people, you know? I mean, that's what I did. When I needed help, I always got pretty words. People telling me that they can't help and that they had to do it all themselves. And then I see them and their families and they do get the help that I need. They didn't do it all themselves. And that's I see all these people doing all this stuff for people who can't stay clean and won't stay off the drugs and telling me that they had to do it all themselves. It's frustrating. I try not to be mad at people, but I don't want to be here anymore, and then they get mad at me for saying that. And I don't want to be here anymore because I don't get to see them, and their words are empty. I mean, with Todd, I asked him for help, and he said he would, and he didn't, and he didn't, and he didn't, and he didn't, and I finally begged him to kill me, same as everyone else. I mean, I posted up that evidence on Facebook because I couldn't get the police to take a look at it. I needed someone else to help me make them take a look. I was being threatened and assaulted. I can't go back and see my loved ones in Nebraska or Colorado. I'm stuck going to see people who are abusive to me, like Lanny Ingline, and it's fucked. And for Todd to say that he wouldn't help me because I asked him to kill me, no, he fucking didn't keep his word. He lied to me. In Jesus' name.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
You know, when James beat the fuck out of Jamie, Todd was there. The whole family was there. They took the boy to some place that he was on vacation at in Rapid City while James beat the fuck out of her. James should have gone to prison. And Jamie, he came to her house. He came and found her. He stalked her to where she lived. And she blamed it on me, like I had given him her address. And you know, I was dumb enough to believe it, you know? And I went through my videos. I didn't say a word about where she lived. And that was around the same time that Natalie was killed. I don't get it. Like, all of these people are working together to help the predators go free. And then they blame me, you know? Like, I didn't beat the fuck out of Jamie. And I didn't make Todd not keep his word. I don't remember being mean to anybody who didn't deserve it.
Shoot, I don't even remember you being mean to people that deserved it.
Yeah, that's because I'm not allowed. I'm different, so even if they deserve it, I'm the one that gets blamed. And that's the thing. Like, I needed people to come forward and tell the world who I really am. Like, that I was frustrated and people wouldn't talk to me. They just kept texting me and texting me. Bad assumption after bad assumption. And when I type it to them, they take it even worse. And I'm like, you're going out of your way to take it as terribly as possible.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. That's one of the things that me and Natalie and Alicia and Maddie all had a conversation about on more than one occasion is how fucked up people take texting.
Abby, no, that thing is loud. Because you can't get the right inflection in texting.
Yep.
People just assume.
That's what I'm dealing with is people's assumptions and opinions based off of shitty assumptions and not finding out. And then I type so slowly, like people have these expectations like I should do voice to text. I'm like, I can't talk to you because I'm in public and I can't be, talking about this stuff in public. And they're like, well, why don't you voice to text? Well, then it comes out even worse because the voice to text doesn't understand what the hell it is I'm saying either.
Yeah, I get that. Mine doesn't understand me most of the time either. It changes lots of stuff.
Right? Like, I don't understand why it is that these people pretend like they'll do something and then months down the road, knowing that it's time sensitive, months down the road, they're like, yeah, dude, I'm not going to do that because you're suicidal. Like, fuck you, you know? I'm suicidal for a reason. I needed help, not pretty words. And then I feel bad because there's a lot of people that, I just like everybody else, I need to see my loved ones in person. I need to hear their voices. And I still love Jamie and the boy. I mean, I'm pissed off at them, but like shit, I still love my parents, and they did all sorts of fucked up shit to me. I can't turn that part off. Everybody else can. My dad didn't give a fuck until it was a challenge to his manhood. Right? That's literally why he offered to help me. And he didn't really offer. I had to.
Beg?
Yeah. Well, I had to take the blame for a bunch of things that he took wrong. If I don't pretend like he's right, then he's not going to do anything to help.
No, a lot of people are like that.
Yeah, I noticed. But then it's the fact that like normally, even under a stressful situation, I can hold my calm, I can hold my cool because I know I can leave the situation. I can go see my loved ones and those people who are treating me like shit don't matter. But it with this situation, these people and their bullshit prevented me from seeing my loved ones. I mean, I can't see Miss Peaches. I can't go back to chapel. I mean, shit, while I was in chapel, Chris Kurth was threatening me. What a fucking dipshit that asshole is.
He's always been one. Never liked Chris Kurth.
Most
Or
people
Cody.
don't. Yeah, I was talking about the situation with Chris, and Cody wanted to know who I was talking about.
Whenever I go back to chapel, nobody recognizes me anymore. Not nobody, but most people don't recognize me anymore.
I suppose that might be a good thing.
Yeah, it's nice, actually. Because the majority of them don't recognize me unless they're, like, really older people.
Yeah, I got that while I was there too. I mean, a lot of the people that I used to know that got into meth, like, no, I don't want to hang out with them, and a lot of them they don't recognize me at all.
Yeah, when I was down there for Todd's wedding, I went to the bar with Dallas, my brother, and then, of course, he left. So I'm sitting in this bar alone, and I'm like, I know everybody here, but everybody keeps looking at me like they don't know who I am.
Right?
It was weird.
I was glad I got to go to Todd's wedding, but it was too many people there, so I didn't stay for the wedding. I just, well, I
Oh,
hung
you
out
were
with
in
the boy a
town
little.
then?
I was.
I wish I had known that. Me and my daughter were in town for Todd's wedding.
Yeah, I'd heard that. I actually, uh, Todd invited me, but he said that he didn't know where to send the invite to. I ended up going with Jamie and the boy, but I didn't stick around. I mean, it was way too many people for me. People got a lot of expectations that are based on the resources that they have. And they like to say pretty stuff like they did it all themselves. Like, no, if you're living with somebody else, you're not doing it all yourself. Somebody
Right.
else is paying part of the bills, you're not doing it all yourself.
Yeah, I definitely don't do much of it myself. I babysit to make us money, and my boyfriend makes most of the money. So
But you work together.
yeah, I did work to get here, and I used to. There was at one point where I was the one making the most money.
Yep, and
We switched on and off.
that's how family's supposed to work, you know? And a boyfriend, that may not necessarily be family, but it's the same dynamic,
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you've been together for 12 years.
right? And congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, we're just not married because I don't want to get married ever.
Me either. I don't really want to date anymore either. I want to be with people who let me be decent to them, you know?
Yeah.
And the other part of that is if they're going to be constantly tearing me down, like, no, I don't want to be around those people. When I say my loved ones, there's a lot of people that I love that don't do nothing but tear me down. And when I talk about my loved ones, I'm not thinking about the ones who tear me down all the time. I'm thinking about the ones that bring positivity to my life. And I wasn't able to see those people because of people telling lies about me. And that's just messed up. Like, I understand, you know, they're on drugs. They can't clean up their lives. But that doesn't mean that it's okay to destroy my life, especially when I went there to keep her from killing herself at her request. Actually, that trip that I went up to South Dakota and Todd was up there, like, that was on my way to Virginia. I turned around to go back and rescue Jamie and the boy from James, and she wouldn't make a police report. Like, so many
That
people,
happens a lot with abuse. I don't know why.
because she loves him, because she was taught that people who love you abuse you.
Yeah, that's not right, though. That teaches her son that that kind of behavior is okay,
Yes, it does.
whether it's you taking it or giving it.
Yeah, she told him I was probably the only person in his life who changed more of his diapers than she did. I think that's true. I think I probably changed 3 times as many diapers. But it's difficult for me because, like, people always think that because I'm, you know, I was always positive and always tried to look at the bright side, that everything was okay in my life. Well, I've got problems that are 10 times worse than theirs, and I can't do those things and take care of those problems without help. And I try to help those people because I know that they need it, you know? Like Brittany. I love Brittany. I've known Brittany for over 20 years. And even knowing that she's all messed up and is having the issues that she's having, like, I don't stop caring about her.
Right?
But we really do get railroaded out there. And I understand a lot of people are on drugs out there, but I stayed away from those drugs. I am mad at Todd, though. I really am. I mean, he said that he was going to do things that he didn't. And then months down the road saying he's not going to do those things because I asked him to kill me. I asked him to kill me because he lied and wasn't going to do those things and didn't do those things. I got to see the boy when I was in chapel. You know, I mean, I was excited about that. Jamie tried to turn his head away and say it was somebody else, but of course, you know, I've known him since he can remember, at least, you know. So of course he saw me and recognized me and had to run up and give me a hug. I just I see so many people going through issues that I grew up with, and they're like, you know, Sean, I'm really having a hard time because I got this issue now. Like Jason Vogt, I'm like, dude, you're having those issues because you smoke too damn much meth.
Who? You said Jason Boat?
Yep, Jason Vogt and Little J both. Like, I saw both of those guys. They went from, you know, being friends of mine to fuck, you know, staying over at Matt Worley's and stealing his mom's tools and stuff and going and selling them for shit. And I'm like, no, guys, I have to leave. I can't be around you guys. You're stealing from family now. But
Oh, that's
then,
what drug addicts do.
right? And then because they have families, their families still stick up for them and still look out for them. I mean, Tom still looks out for Jason.
I'll say,
Matt's
I guess
mom,
it depends on who your family is. Some people drop people like that, but most of the time they don't. Right?
that's true. Shit, I don't even do drugs. My family dropped me off like a bad habit. Of course, the thing that really made my dad willing to pretend to do something is that I was pissed off about his drug use. You know, he keeps throwing it in my face that everything is my fault and so on and so forth. I'm like, dude, I lived a fucked up childhood because you and mom couldn't stay off the fucking drugs.
Yeah.
He's like, well, you know, come up here. I got a Jeep for you. You can have a place to work on the things that you need to. And, you know, I outlined for him what it is that I needed, and he was fine with it. And then, after I'd already invested the money to go up there to Washington State to do that, he was definitely not down. All the things that he said he'd help me with, he threw down as things that I'm not allowed to do. Like, damn, dude. Way to fucking tell the truth, bro.
Well, I'm sorry that your dad's still like that. That sucks.
That's alright. My mom's still like that, too. Actually, that's probably why me and Jamie got along so well. She does remind me of my mom. She is one of
Jamie
the.
does?
She does. They're both addicts, and they're.
Then I guess I wouldn't like your mom because I hate Jamie.
Right?
I haven't hated Jamie for a long time now. I didn't used to when I was younger and she lived next door to me. But I don't know, ever since I met her as an adult, I don't like her.
Yeah, she got real manipulative. She
Yeah,
got
I
into
was going to say
meth.
she's a user, and that's what I don't like. She was always nice to me, but she's still a user. She just uses people, and I don't like that.
That's something I try to explain about the difference between being nice to somebody and being genuine. Like, at first, right after Jamie's mom died, like, I found that out while I was going to jump off the viaduct in front of the first fucking train. I decided not to, and me and Jamie became friends after that, but, like, she manipulated everybody, you know? I mean, it didn't matter how good they were to her or how much they did for her. She's running around telling everybody else that this dude's a bad guy. She's got 6 different suitors at her house at any point in time. She's like, Sean, the only reason that people come over here is because they want to get some. I'm like, well, shit, that sucks. Why don't you
When
just
I
ask
was
them to
out
go
there,
away?
she was dating some guy who had a bunch of money. She didn't really seem to like him that much.
Yeah, that's the boy's dad, Mark Cox.
No, but it was after the dad. It was some older guy.
Ah, yeah, the guitar player dude.
Yeah, it was some older guy. He buying her a bunch of alcohol and everything that she wanted and stuff.
Yep.
And I'm like, she doesn't even like this dude. She's just using him because he has a bunch of money.
Yeah, it's pretty much what I was for. Not because I had a bunch of money, but because she wanted to go out and party and get drunk and do drugs. And
Well, she was doing the same thing with Todd, too. But Todd will never see it. Because back then, Todd had a bunch of inheritance money. And that's why Jamie was hanging all over him.
yeah,
Because he was blowing his money on alcohol and whatever else for everybody.
I remember that. That was,
Yep.
she had Otska was over there, and she was using the shit out of him, and Hayden McCall, she was using the shit out of him. Of course, when Todd went on vacation, he didn't go somewhere that people actually go on vacation. He blew his money to go see Jamie. His wife don't know that. It didn't even occur to her. But men will do stupid things for pretty.
I don't even think she's that pretty, but yeah. I mean, obviously men think she is, so.
It's the green eyes.
Well, I have green eyes too, so there.
Well, you're...
What?
I'm not allowed to say this because you got a boyfriend, but you're hot too.
Thank you. No, I used to like Jamie. When she was younger, she was our neighbor. She was nice to me, and she gave me her dresses. But I don't know what happened to her in between.
She got into meth.
And now.
She got into meth.
Oh, okay.
Every time I see her...
She used to be nice. I used to really like her, and she was...
She's still nice.
Obviously, because of the age difference.
She's still nice. She's
nice,
just not genuine.
Not really anymore. I mean, she's nice, tries to be nice to me, and I'm not the kind of person, just because I don't like you, I'm not going to be rude or mean or pathetic, you know? I'm still treat you like you're a person.
See, I like that. I do.
I don't even think she knows that I don't like her, because I don't do that.
Well, I keep hoping that I'll get my friend back, and I already know that's not going to happen. Like, that was a really messed up situation that she put me in. We were supposed to be friends, and she was my best friend. You know, most people in chapel, like, they never bothered to try to get to know me, and then when they had issues, I was always the dude they went to, because I'm the dude who doesn't have kids. I'm the dude who has the time to help. I'm the dude who will show up. I'm the dude who will drive halfway across the country to save your dumb ass from dating an asshole who beats you. Jamie's not the only one that I rescued that year, you know? I mean, when I went down to see... Right? Matter of fact, that same year, you remember Shauna Verbis?
I don't think so.
Well, she was a few years older than you, but I helped her move out of the low income. I helped Drake Chambers. That dude fucked his own sister. I mean, seriously, that's fucking gross. But I helped him out, you know, on multiple occasions.
Are you talking about Shay or the other one?
Shay.
Okay. Well, I mean, they're not biologically his sisters, though, right?
Nope, they're not, I don't think.
They grew up together, which is what makes it messed up.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing.
But Drake's like that. Anything that will let him inside them, he goes for.
Right? I've never liked him. I mean, I really tried when I was younger, but after he kept Chantel locked in his room for 6 months, kept on accusing her of cheating on him with everybody. Like, dude, you don't let her leave your room. How is she going to cheat on you with anyone? And then he'd go and try to find some meth and leave dudes with her for hours on end. Like, those dudes didn't leave themselves with her. You said you'd be right back in 5 minutes, and then went and blew all your money.
Came back like 5 hours later.
Right? Meanwhile, Chantel didn't want to talk to me, you know. She wasn't friendly at all. It was basically me talking to Drake's mom. And then she hates me because of the way that Drake treated her for that 6 months. I've only seen her twice since they broke up, and she treats me like shit. I went to the bar in Garden County where she works, and she fucking spit in my drink right in front of me. I don't know, like that's the thing, is that I'm less or worth less than these people are because of me not being fake. I get to be the black sheep because I'm honest. Trying to show people what happened with this. Like, I put all of that on my Facebook, and it got me Facebook banned, but I mean, what else could I do? The police won't take a report from a homeless person.
Yeah.
And I only ended up homeless because of Natalie getting shot in the head. And I didn't shoot her in the head, but that didn't matter. The people who I was staying with, they stole over $1,200 from me. I didn't have any money to even go to court if I wanted to. And after that, I was begging people to go with me. I mean, Cody, or not Cody, Chris Kurth was trying to run me out of town, and one of the sheriff's deputies, Cody Sellhorst, was trying to run me out of town. I made fun of him for having a stutter, though. I was like, you know what? If this guy's going to be an asshole, I'm going to make fun of him. Tell me I got to leave town. I called him Stuttering Stanley.
You what?
I called him Stuttering Stanley. When I was younger, I had a really bad stuttering problem. That's why I say and things like that. It's because my brain goes too fast for my mouth.
Oh, okay.
I actually learned in Centennial Peaks how to get rid of that. We put a strap around my chest, and I would take a deep breath, and then I would talk slowly until I was out of breath, and then I'd try it again, and that kind of helped. And then the stopping and saying and things like that. I just don't get it. Like, Todd could have shown that he's a real Christian, but he showed me he's like most of the other Christians in my life. You know, Jamie.
Todd's only Christian when it suits him.
I noticed.
It's been like that my whole life.
Most of the Christians I know are like that. I remember your mom and my mom having Bible group in our house, and they all got these Bibles, and none of them opened them up. And I remember being upstairs listening to them talking about shitting dicks. I'm like, oh my God, this is church group?
Nope.
Nope.
Sure wasn't.
I guess the biggest slap to the face for me is that, like, my grandpa died the very end of last year. I guess his funeral was on like the 2nd or 3rd of January or something like that. And I went to my grandma's funeral. You know, I loved the woman. She was a great woman. But my grandpa, like, he raped my mom all through high school. And for me, when I needed help, shit, my mom was pissed off at my grandma's funeral because I showed up. And the whole time she's complaining about all 4 of her kids because she just wants normal kids. I'm like, fuck, woman, you don't know nothing about normal. And then, right?
Plus, it might have helped you guys be normal if she was there and taking care of you when you needed it.
Well, you know, some people just really like the cocaine. By the time I got it out of the system, I got to admit, I wasn't an easy cookie to handle. When I first moved to Nebraska, I was confused. I didn't know shit about white people. And then I'm in the middle of Chapel, Nebraska. They blame everything on blacks and Mexicans. I'm like, fuck, the closest we got to either one is Lupe Haracha. Am I right, though?
Yeah, I was going to say, we didn't really have any blacks or Mexicans for the longest time there.
I guess we had a preacher that was there from Kenya.
Yeah, I know. They had 2 younger sons.
Yeah, and the first thing people started doing is saying that he worships the devil and cuts goats' throats out of the farm and all sorts of crazy shit like that. Like, man, why don't you get to know the dude?
That.
See? I don't know.
The only family I can think that stuck around was the Asian family. I can't remember if they were Chinese or Japanese or...
Kim.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember them. They were a lot younger. Well, the one that I knew anyway was a friend of Jamie's. So I met him a couple of times, but I never really talked to him. I don't know. I guess I just, when you said I could call up and vent, I haven't heard a human voice that is familiar for a while. I mean, there's people that do call me up. Like Peaches calls me up from time to time to tell me that she loves me, and that does
That's
make
good.
things better. But of course, you don't know Miss Peaches, so that's basically like, well, you know how it is when you're listening to somebody tell stories about somebody you don't know. You're like, well, I don't know who this person is. What's the point of this story? But I try not to feel suicidal. I try to believe that something good will happen. But then I see all these fake people that are working together with others, or other people are helping them out, and I'm like, I'm real. I'm honest. Why is it these people who are on drugs are worth more than me? Why is it that these dudes who beat you are more important than just being my friend? You know?
Yeah.
Why is it that these people who lie to you and cheat on you are worth throwing me away for? Why are these people worth stealing from me for? Why are they worth stealing from your own family for? And then, like, since all of this happened, I keep thinking about Brittany, and I keep thinking about Nathan. And I mean, I think about so many people that have been missing, and I'm like, almost half the people that I knew that were on missing persons posters ended up dead.
Oh, wow. Are they really?
Yeah,
Well, my sister's in prison now.
yeah, I was reading about that. I don't know how long did she get.
She got sentenced to 3 years, but for some reason her attorney thinks that she's going to be out in April next month. I don't know why. Probably because the charge is from a couple years ago, and she spent a little bit of time while she was pregnant in prison. And I don't know. I guess they're just expecting her to be able to get out real easy.
Well, she's a woman, so she gets a lighter sentence, and I told her that. She was telling me that she was looking at 6 to 9 years, and I
That's
told
what she
her,
was telling everybody, yeah.
yeah, they probably were telling her that, but she's a woman and she's a mother, so they give her a lot more leniency than a male, and she's white, which helps. I don't want to
Right.
say it like that, but it's fucking true as all shit. Whenever people complain about how minorities are treated, I'm like, shit, minorities are treated better than homeless people. The only way to get more screwed than being a homeless people is to be a homeless minority.
Well, my sister's daughter is in foster care, and I've been trying to get her for the last 7 months.
I hope you get her. She's in Colorado, right?
Yep, she's in Denver.
Jesus fuck.
She's got a
Is
good foster mom, though.
So she's not in temporary foster care?
She is. She is. The lady that has her doesn't usually have children this long. She's had her for 7 months, and she doesn't usually have them that long.
When I was in the temporary foster care system, they only allowed you 2 weeks per foster home, and you weren't allowed to visit the same foster home twice.
Well,
The
that's fucked up.
Right? My last stint was 2.5 years, and that was over 70 foster homes. But that wasn't the first time that I went through it. Like, I went through it for about 8 months when I was 4 or 5. That's actually how I ended up in my first institution. They said, all right, dude, we don't have any more foster homes to send you to, and you're still temporary because your mom is supposed to complete her rehab stuff, and she just never did. My dad likes to tell me, Sean, you were a tough kid, and so was Eric, because, we sent you to Grandma's house, and Grandma couldn't take care of you, and we sent you to Aunt Mary's house, and Aunt Mary couldn't take care of you. I'm like, dude, I went from Aunt Mary's house to foster care in Nebraska. I was 4 years old. I mean, if you can't take care of a 4-year-old, you just aren't used to having kids. That's not my fault.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I don't think I ever met Eric. You said Eric, right?
Yep.
I don't think I ever met Eric.
That's probably a good thing. He was sitting outside one day having a cigarette, and some of the kids in town walked by and noticed him sitting on a bucket and asked him what he was doing. He told him he had God trapped underneath the bucket. He was just fucking with them, and they were all dumb enough to believe he thought he was serious. Like, no. But he's always been the might makes right type, you know? Like, if we got into an argument, no matter how wrong he was, he's like, all right, what's 2 plus 2? And I had to say 5 or he'd beat me up. Right?
Was that your older brother?
Yep. You know Michael.
Yeah, I know Michael. And, Tara?
Tara.
Tara?
Yeah.
Tara?
Tara's a mom now. Michael's a dad now. I don't like
Is
Michael,
he a dad
though.
now?
He is. His daughter is 13 or 14, and she has very poor sexual boundaries.
Oh, great.
Yeah, plus she seems to think that loving family in that way is... Like, she has a crush on me for some sick reason, and she's got a crush on Rabbit for some sick reason. But also, like, here in America, the most watched porn is family porn.
I did not know that. That's gross.
It is gross. That's the society we live in, though. We say all this stuff is bad, and then we push it on people.
Well, is she like that because of your brother? Do you think your brother's done something to her?
I do. I do. Well, you've met Michael.
Yes, I've met Michael. I didn't like Michael. Didn't Michael stalk my sister for a little while, too?
He did.
Yeah.
He couldn't keep his hands off of her.
Yeah.
Same thing with Caroline Coffey. Same thing
She
with...
ended up in Ohio for a while over that, which is where I live now.
Right? Like, when I say that I'm a loyal motherfucker, I really am. But I believe in loyalty above all else except honor, and he doesn't have any honor in him.
Yeah.
He was in trouble for molesting his stepdaughter, and my mom and his wife were able to basically they called her a liar repeatedly until she was too afraid to take the stand. They treated her like shit. Same thing that Natalie went through, and my friend Nicole went through that too. I went through that. The whole you're crying wolf. That's the thing. You try to come forward to somebody that you trust, and they show you not only that you not allowed to trust them and can't trust them, but that you're a bad person for speaking up about it. And they say,
Right.
I'd do this to child molesters, and I'd do that to child molesters, and I'd kill them, and I'd cut off their balls. And then when it all comes down to it, they're protecting the very people they said they'd do that to. I said I'd expose them, and I meant it. And I still do. But like with my little brother, the biggest issue with that is that the whole family doesn't care. They're like, all right, well, we'll take him in and we'll protect him and we'll hide him if need be. And I'm like, fuck, we're not talking about somebody who's more than likely falsely accused here. We're talking about my little brother who couldn't keep his hands off of Amanda Payne, couldn't keep his hands off of Amanda Ingleline, couldn't keep his hands off of Brittany, couldn't keep his hands off of Caroline. I mean, it's literally almost all of the women that I became friends with, it's because they hated my little brother and I would protect them from him.
Yeah, I think I was hanging out with Mikey Witcher one day, and your brother was there, and he did the same thing to me, and I just left. I was like, dude, I don't like you. Leave me alone. And I just left.
I'm having a family issue with the Witchers, too.
Are you?
Yeah. Andrew Witcher's daughter, last year they were going to help me out and with using their internet in exchange for me babysitting. And his stepdaughter, Elizabeth, she told me, well, she was, because of what was going on and because everything that happened to me was because I finally had to expose sexual predators to try to fucking get those people to leave me alone. And her mom, Amy, she's asking me all sorts of questions, and she's asking these in front of Elizabeth, and she's like, "Well, why are you still fighting this?" I'm like, "First of all, because they won't let it go. They won't leave me alone, and people keep telling me to leave it alone. And that's the thing. As long as nobody steps forward, these predators get to continue doing it." And Elizabeth said that somebody touched her inappropriately, and she wanted to talk to her mom. So her mom's telling me she thinks it's Elizabeth's real dad. And that night, I got a call from Amy saying that that Andrew had thrown a tantrum and he left again, which means he's going to get more meth. And he runs away 2 or 3 times a week, and then he blames it all on her. Like she's a good wife. If I had a wife, I would want a wife like that. Except that not Amy, because she's my cousin. But
Right, I know what you mean.
but I had to drive my car over there to babysit so that she could go look for him. And on the way there, I got pulled over by the cops because my taillights weren't working right. And they told me to park it by the school, and if it's not there for the night, that they're going to come looking for me. And she literally lives right across the street from the high school, so I parked it in front of their house. Well, when I got there, Andrew was there, and he's crying, and he's throwing a tantrum, and he wants me to leave. So I did. It turned out that what happened is Elizabeth wasn't trying to tell on her dad, she was trying to tell on Andrew. And Amy did exactly the same thing. She's like, "Well, I don't know which one's lying." But I didn't find that out until about a month ago because I didn't talk to them for a full year. After what they pulled, she was telling me that if my car, because I had to walk in the rain back to my apartment and deal with Desiree, who's trying to recover from a meth addiction and an abusive relationship in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And then I have to walk back in the rain because Amy's telling me that if Andrew says if my car is still out there, in 30 minutes, that he's going to leave her. And I'm like, you know what? You guys are abusive towards your kids, and I don't want to have nothing to do with you, which is not true. Amy doesn't abuse her children. She is mostly a good mother. But the fact that she didn't turn Andrew in is fucking sick. And he's been having this meth problem for as long as she's been with him. She wants to have faith in him, but he just keeps fucking up. He's selfish. And that's something that there's a lot of people I don't want to believe that about. Like when people tell me that Brittany's like that, I'm like, not sexually, but that she can't stay off the drugs. I'm like, I can see it. When I was younger, that's not who she was to me. She was my friend.
She wasn't that person back then, but I really don't know what happened after the whole Mark stuff. She went to live with her dad, and then, I don't know, her life's been downhill since then.
That's pretty fucked up, though. With Natalie, her dad's the one that got her into the drugs. He's the one that started giving her the heroin. He was actually...
I don't think her dad got her into drugs. I think her dad just ended up ditching her one day.
See, that'd do it, too. Abandonment issues.
Yeah, well, he's always done that to her. She's had abandonment issues with her dad since the day she was born, basically. He was always in and out. He'd show up, spend some time with her, and then he'd be gone for 3 years, and then he'd show back up, spend some time with her, and be gone for 4 years,
When I met Brittany, because she is a couple of years younger than me, when I met her, I wasn't sure if we were going to be friends. I mean, she was nice, but, like, she hung out with people that were too good for me. And it wasn't until that day at the fireworks stand when, you remember when she got in trouble for going out to the lake with that traveler?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law helped her go out there a bunch.
Well, Todd was there in front of pretty much the whole church group at the fireworks stand, telling her that she's a whore and she's a this and she's a that. And it was actually Todd being like that to her that made me decide that I liked her. Is that fucked up?
A little bit.
But yeah, I mean, for a lot of people, they try to put on this face, and Todd has one of those faces. You know, he puts on a persona.
Oh yeah, I know he does.
With Brittany, she, even with everything that went on with her kid and the drugs and all that, like, she doesn't keep secrets from me. I mean, she doesn't tell me everything, but she tells me that she fucked up. You know, she doesn't try to pawn it off on other people. She says, "Yeah, I fucked up." Who does that? You know, how many people this day and age are willing to do that?
Not very many.
Although
Well, I'm glad she does that with you, because she likes to. Whenever I was in the court hearings with her, she'd be like, "I wouldn't be doing the drugs if you guys just giving me my kid back." And I'm like, "Brittany, come on."
you had your kid, they took the kid because of the drugs. Same thing that they did to my mom. Not you. I mean Brittany.
Right.
But she told me that she was like, you know, I'm trying to stay off the drugs. I need to depend on other people because I don't make enough. And you know, even if I'm out there, she did things that you know you see movies about, and you feel bad for the girls that have to do that. And she was doing things like that to try to, well, to try to feed herself, but also to pay for her drug habit. And a lot of the
Yeah.
guys that I was in jail actually know Brittany for that reason. And that's a tough pill to swallow too, because I mean they know her first name, they know the name that she goes by on the streets, they know where she hangs out. I'm like, yep, they're not bullshitting me. They know who she is.
Yeah. We knew she was doing that. That's why we were worried about her when she disappeared.
Right? Like, you know, and it wasn't just you and me that were looking for her. Todd was looking for her too, you know? I mean, he's the one that I was going to go down and see her no matter what. But Todd was able to give me a little bit of money for gas to be able to go do that. And I actually went and saw her in the Jefferson County Jail.
I bet she was surprised to see you.
She was. She
Like,
was.
whoa, wait a minute.
I'd like
Long
to
time,
go.
Sean. Didn't know this is how I'd see you next.
Oh, she was super excited though. I mean, when you're in jail and somebody comes to see you, it is exciting. But like with you, you know, she's got a family that goes in and goes to her court hearings and tries to do stuff like that. With me, it was like, Sean, if you go to jail, you're on your own. We're not going to visit you. We're not putting money on your books. You're just SOL. The the people that came to visit me were people like Miss Jerry. And Miss Jerry, you know, Jerry Sparks.
Yeah.
Yeah, she, as long as I've known her, she has always had to depend on men because she didn't make enough and she's got 3 kids.
Right.
So it was basically hop from one place to another to another. And every time that she wanted to move or got sick of a dude, it was he's an abusive asshole, he's verbally abusive, or he threw stuff at me. And then when she gets sick of the next guy, she wants to go back to someone who's familiar, so she goes back to the dude who she was claiming abused her. But then the story is different because now she wants to get back with him and she wants support instead of my help moving her out of his house because he's abusive. She wants me to help her move back into his house because he's not abusive and she just took it wrong and Lana blew it out of proportion and that's the way it ended up that way. And yeah, that is actually how Lana does things, but it wasn't Lana that blew it out of proportion with that story. It was Miss Jerry. And it's always the same 3 guys. I helped her move out 7 times. That's not true. I helped her move more than that because when she moved by herself to that house in Chapel up on 6th Street, um, she was the only person that was there as far as she didn't have a boyfriend while she was there, but she had 3 boy toys at the time, and she didn't have to worry about depending on them for an income because I was bringing in money. You know, I wasn't paying any of the bills, but I was providing nearly all of the food. And that was all the Jepsons' fault. If it wasn't for Gary letting me go help him cut trees, Miss Jerry and her kids probably would have starved or ended up in another abusive relationship. I guess I do talk quite a bit, don't I?
What?
I said, I guess I do talk quite a bit, don't I?
Yeah, you do. That's okay, though.
In person, like, I need positivity. And a lot of the people that I hang out with, they're just not positive. And then when I finally get to talk to somebody, I just end up dumping all my shit on them. There are people in Chapel and Boulder that are positive, that I could go hang out with, but I can't now because of the rumors that were started, because people didn't want to admit, just like with Brittany, it's your fault that she's on drugs. It's your fault that she got her daughter taken away. And although she confides in me things that she would probably never confide in any of you guys with, it's also the fact that so many people do that. The exact thing that she did to you, so many people do that over their addictions. And that's the thing with Natalie and her sister. They didn't want to admit that they had a heroin problem, that and their mother knew, but they didn't want to admit that they had invited me there, that we had planned the trip. They didn't want to tell the truth as far as why I was there. They didn't admit that they had invited me when I left there. They didn't admit that that was my choice. They said that I stalked them. Alicia actually called Maddie and said that I had threatened her family, and I hadn't. I got stuck in the fucking road while dehydrated, having a panic attack, because I hadn't seen anybody that I knew, and all the people that I knew in the area were either in jail or moved on already. And then when I got back to Boulder, like Maddie, she heard that I had threatened Alicia's family, so she's telling everybody that I threatened Alicia's family and that I molested some girl in Virginia and I raped some girl in Virginia. And I'm like, I'm not a child molester. I'm scared shitless of sex. I'm scared shitless that if I touch a woman, I will get in trouble. That's because I grew up in the system. So, like, going back to see my loved ones, the ones that are positive, the ones who do positive things with me and help to build me up instead of tear me down, I can't see those people, and then I'm just supposed to be fine with it. I don't understand why people do stuff like that, but at the same time, I do understand why people do stuff like that. And then these people that I enabled by, Miss Jerry helping to move her repeatedly, she didn't have to worry about if there's a situation. She doesn't have to worry about having to do it herself because she knows that I'll come running. After Natalie died, like there were 12 women just last year, that I couldn't help out because I didn't have the money, the finances, and wasn't allowed to leave state. You know what, Nicole? I just realized I've been talking at you for almost a full hour.
Well, I've talked a little.
Very little. I ended up doing most of it. But I'm trying to believe that one of these people will do the right thing instead of protecting the predators. And Todd knows that James beat the fuck out of Jamie. Todd's wife knows that James beat the fuck out of Jamie. Jamie knows that James beat the fuck out of Jamie. And you know why Jamie stopped talking to me? It's because I called James a rapist. And she's the one that told me that James was a rapist. She's the one that told me that James raped Jackie McKenzie. I wasn't just Jackie McKenzie.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know if that's true. I've talked to Jackie twice since Natalie died, but Jackie's trying to get off the drugs, and so is Randy Linden. So, I mean, they didn't really have much time. Last
They're
time,
not together anymore, I didn't think.
I don't know. They get back together and then they break up and get back together
okay.
and
Well, I
break
was
up.
looking at her Facebook the other day, and it was a different dude. It wasn't Randy.
That makes sense. But like I said, I've only seen her twice since Natalie died. And Randy told
I was
me,
wondering why she looked so rough. Okay, so she's been battling addiction too.
yep. But Randy was
Which would
telling
make
me,
sense because her and Rose are best friends, and Rose was battling addiction, and she's been drug-free for a couple years now, I think.
Rose has always been a badass. I mean, she's a bitch, but that's the biggest thing about her that I like. I mean, she will fucking get up
me
in
too.
your
We
face.
used to be really good friends.
Like, you don't fuck with my people. And that's what she says. You don't fuck with my people. And absolutely, I get that. So, I don't know. Like, when I saw Jackie last, or when I saw Randy last, he told me that the last time I saw him and Jackie, the reason they couldn't stick around and talk is because they were going to make a drug run. And that he's trying to clean up his life. But I've also heard that out of him probably 20 times. And then his brother,
how many years?
right? His brother is my niece's dad. So, I mean, I wasn't even going to go to Tara's wedding. But, I mean, I love Randy, or Riley. I love them both, actually. You know, they've never done me wrong. They've never treated me badly, despite their addiction.
What, Riley or Tara, or?
Riley or Randy.
Or Randy, okay.
Yeah. Tara, she
I don't think I
gets
know who
scared.
Riley is, but I know who Randy is.
Riley's his older brother.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. I do know who he is.
Yep. But he's also, like, he treats men differently than he treats women. He's respectable and respectful to men, but he sees women as objects.
Like most men, or a lot of them.
Yep. And then we, of course, start teaching girls to go after those guys on the playground. Oh, he only hits you because he likes you. No, he hits you because he thought he'd get away with it.
Because he likes you. Yeah, that's bad advice.
Right? Of course.
Although sometimes it may be true, it's still bad advice.
Well, my friend Tabby, she was with a guy for a lot of years who was just a piece of shit to her. And after seeing what I was going through and hearing the things that I had to say, when I left there, she finally kicked his ass out. She was like, you know what? There's a good man in my life, and although we don't have sex, he's a good man, and he is somebody who I can trust around my children. And I can't trust you because you're an alkie. And so Josh had to leave. And then he wanted to treat her like shit because he was kicked out. I'd have kicked his ass out too. A long time ago. I wouldn't have put up with that shit for 10 years.